After peacefully passing away, I was reborn back to my college years. The moment I saw Anthony, I instinctively leaned in and kissed him. "Good morning, darling," I said. It wasn't until his entire body stiffened beneath me that I realized, crap. Back in this timeline, Anthony and I were mortal enemies. The kind who'd rather see the other wiped off the face of the earth. We'd known each other since we were 6, but we didn't get together until we were 36. 50 years of bickering, well, more like storms and battles, finally led to peace. When I closed my eyes for the final time, I was calm, painless, and regret-free. So, how could I possibly wake up here? Did the rebirth script get assigned to the wrong person? I didn't even have a revenge mission to complete, but I had no time to dwell on that right now. Anthony stood nearby with his arms crossed, watching me lazily. "What's wrong? Cat got your tongue?" He was clearly waiting for me to explain that absurd behavior. Just 5 minutes ago, I'd woken up groggy and confused. Seeing Anthony, I'd instinctively wrapped my arms around his waist, nuzzled into his neck, and asked for a kiss like usual. He had been so stunned, his whole body locked up for a full beat. And then he shoved me off. Hard. How was I supposed to explain that it was just muscle memory? A reflex built from decades of morning kisses. There was no way to explain it. If I really told him we'd been together for half our lives, and this was how we started every morning, he'd probably bang a gong and have me committed on the spot. Everyone at Z University knew Anthony and Daniel were sworn enemies. Oil and water. I scratched my head and blurted out the first excuse I could think of. I had a wet dream. He sneered. "You call your wet dream husband?" Right, I had said that while trying to kiss him. Seeing me silent, his smirk deepened. "Daniel, I never expected this from you. You like men? Dreaming so dirty you're moaning for your husband in your sleep. So horny you can't even wait, why not just shove a rolling pin up there and get it over with?" What a vile mouth. My blood pressure shot through the roof. Out of habit, I reached into my pocket for medication only to realize, right? I was only in my 20s now. I didn't need blood pressure pills. Shut up. Shut up. And why should I? He laughed. "I think I'll shout it from the rooftops. Let the whole department know. Let's see if you still think that scholarship is in the bag." I froze. Right. At this point in time, Anthony and I were still neck and neck competing for the top scholarship. I just won a national competition and earned bonus credits, pulling way ahead of him. Couldn't help but brag a little this round was mine. But in this era, homosexuality was still way too taboo. If this got out, it wouldn't just be a scandal, it could be seen as a moral failing. And I could easily be disqualified from the award. Annoying. It wasn't about the money. It was the way Anthony was treating me. Sarcastic, aggressive, needling me like always. I knew we weren't close yet. He didn't have the ability to see the future. Didn't know how much he'd come to love me one day. It wasn't his fault. But hearing those words from the man I loved still stung. "Go ahead. Shout all you want," I muttered, curling back into bed. "I'm going back to sleep. Anthony's still waiting for me in my dream." Wait a damn second. Anthony's eyes widened. He grabbed my shoulders and yanked me out of bed. Who the hell were you dreaming about?" When I answered, "You." His expression turned absolutely foul, like he'd just eaten dog crap. He stormed off to his dorm in a panic. I fell back asleep. Unfortunately, no dreams came. When I woke again, the sky outside had already turned dark. My roommate flipped on the lights. The single exposed bulb swayed from a cord in the ceiling, casting dancing shadows across the room. Still here. I'd half expected to wake up back in my coffin. But in the original timeline, I should have already turned to ashes by now. Mixed with Anthony's, sealed beneath a concrete slab. We hadn't adopted children, didn't keep pets. There'd be no one left to remember us. I was still lost in thought when my roommate called out, "Not going to shower? Bathhouse is closing. Coming." I slowly got up, grabbing my towel and wash basin, shuffling toward the bathhouse in my slippers. I hadn't yet adjusted to this younger, more agile body. I walked slowly. As I reached the door, a wave of heat and steam hit me. And then I saw Anthony. His curtain was only half drawn. He was rinsing soap suds off his body. Under the warm yellow lights, the intense lines of his muscles looked slightly softened, but the impact still exploded in my mind like fireworks. I felt my heart slam into overdrive, hot blood rushing to every corner of my body. I was fully awake now. At 36, Anthony and I had both made it to the top of rival tech companies. Our rivalry evolved from test scores to market cap and annual profits. At one business banquet, we both accidentally drank spiked liquor. The trap had been meant for someone else, but somehow we got locked in a room together. Whoever did it must not have expected to grown adults in their 30s. To suddenly act like schoolboys competing, drinking every single glass on the tray just to outdo each other. That night, Anthony and I fought over who got to use the rolling pin. Eventually, I ran out of steam and lost. He pinned me until morning. The next day, I trembled through gritted teeth. Terrible technique. You owe me to projects. Then we're even. But Anthony surprisingly hadn't fired back. He silently stubbed out his cigarette and helped me pull my pants back on. A week later, he showed up outside my office building. I'll give you the projects, but I'm not letting this go. Looking back now, that was probably when we both realized, once we'd tasted each other, we couldn't stop. Too bad we didn't enjoy it for long. Before we knew it, we'd hit the middle-aged years of mind-willing, body not cooperating. By the time I came to my senses, I was already standing behind Anthony in the bathhouse. He must have sensed something. He turned around and froze. What the hell are you doing? I ignored his panic and anger. My gaze slowly traveled down, settling on his narrow waist. I wanted to touch it. I'd never touched 20-year-old Anthony before. So I did. Daniel. He yanked my hand away. Snap out of it. Are you still dreaming? He used so much force, it actually hurt. I looked at him, a little wronged. Anthony, you can't treat me like this. His eyes widened, his tone rising in alarm. What do you mean I can't? You were the one who... Wait, you mean this afternoon? I swear, I didn't tell anyone. I wasn't really listening. His breathing grew rapid, his lower abdomen rising and falling, the tension only making the muscles look even better. Then he grabbed my chin and forced my head up. Stop staring. Steam curled around us, and Anthony's face was practically burning red. I couldn't help but watch the way his Adam's apple moved when he swallowed. So sexy. I wanted to kiss it. My gaze was too direct. Realizing that, he panicked and angrily forced my face toward the wall. I seriously can't with you. Daniel, are you possessed or something? Tell your mom to get an exorcist already. No need for an exorcist, I said with effort. You can just sleep with me. Anthony froze like he turned to stone. Even his breathing stopped. A few seconds later, chaos. He completely lost his composure and began shoving me out of the bathhouse. You're insane. Stay the hell away from me. He wasn't gentle at all. I staggered back and fell flat on my butt. Before I could even say ouch, there was a loud crash at the door. A classmate dropped an enamel basin and bolted to get help. Anthony and Daniel are fighting in the showers because of that fight in the bathhouse. Both Anthony and I lost our eligibility for the scholarship. He probably couldn't bring himself to explain that Daniel was trying to sleep with me, so he didn't bother defending himself. This was your plan? Drag me down with you just to spite me? Seriously. I lay sprawled on my bed, my butt still throbbing on and off. Get me some water. Who do you think you're bossing around? I licked my lips. I'm just thirsty. Anthony scowled, voice anything but friendly. Where's your cup? I think it hasn't been washed for days. And the kettle's empty. Can't you tell it needs a refill? He cursed all the way out the door, but came back soon with a full kettle. Suddenly, something clicked. Anthony, why were you in my dorm yesterday? He paused mid-pour. Your roommate said you hadn't woken up. I came to see if you were dead. TCH. What a disappointment. He held the cup out to me. I didn't take it, just struggled to sit up and leaned forward to drink. As soon as my lips touched the rim, Anthony jerked the cup away. You don't have hands. What? Now you want me to feed you? We've been old husbands for years. You fed me before hell. You even cleaned my bedpan when I was hospitalized in my 50s. I pressed my lips together and said nothing. Took the cup myself and slowly sipped a mouthful. The moment I swallowed, pain shot up my backside again. This one lasted longer. I couldn't help but whimper. Too hot. I added cold water. Before I could answer, he took the cup back. It's perfectly fine. You trying to sue me now? Anthony, I hissed, gripping the sheets. Can you check for me? Is it bruised? It hurts more than yesterday. He didn't respond. I lifted my head carefully and met his gaze, complex, unreadable. Do you even know what you're saying? I can't see it myself. And what good would it do if I look? What? You think you'll magically bounce back to life? That was fair. But why did it sound so damn heartbreaking? I buried my face in the pillow. Forget it. You can go. And Anthony did. Just like that, didn't even hesitate. Not a second wasted. When the door shut behind him, a sour ache bloomed in my chest. I shouldn't have expected anything from this younger version of him. Maybe I'd ask my roommate when he got back. If it looked bad, I'd just go to the campus clinic. I didn't expect Anthony to return before my roommate. And this time, he brought the campus doctor with him. The doctor handed over a bottle of bruise ointment. then said the words that made Anthony go ballistic. You'll be applying it. Why me? Because you two were on the same disciplinary notice. You want to pretend you didn't hit him. Anthony opened his mouth several times, but every time, swallowed the words back. He gave in. But when he applied the ointment, his hands were full of vengeful strength. OW. That hurts. Don't press so hard, ah. He slapped his hand over my mouth. His brows were furrowed tight, and his voice was low and vicious. You moaning. Can you not be disgusting right now? Tears stung the corners of my eyes. I looked down. Didn't even make a sound. His hand paused. He clicked his tongue, looked away, and finished applying the medicine at top speed. After washing his hands, he came back out and found me still frozen in the same position. He lightly kicked the leg of the bed. 2 words and you're broken now. You were yelling so loud earlier. You didn't think about who else might hear you in a 2-man dorm. From this angle, I had a perfect view of his waist. A blue and white sailor striped shirt, crisp white slacks, and a narrow brown belt pulling everything snug. Back in the day, I used to think Anthony just dressed flashy to steal my thunder. Now at he really was good looking. Sure, 36-year-old Anthony was handsome. So, was 56-year-old Anthony. But this version of him, young, vibrant, healthy. That word made me freeze. Hey, you deaf or something? Anthony waved a hand in front of my face. I snapped back to reality and looked straight into his eyes. Light brown. Clear. Bright. Say it already. Why are you staring at me like that? I want to touch you. I blurted out. Touch what? You touch me. Now it's my turn. What? He went silent, then stumbled back to whole meters, face red with fury. Daniel, what the hell are you saying? I was putting on ointment, not grabbing your ass. You didn't. I asked. You didn't. Anthony's next words came out weak, tinged with a reluctant confession. I did. But it was for the ointment. I want to touch you. I cut him off. He pressed his lips together. After a long moment of tense silence, he took a reluctant step toward me. Wait, really? He's letting me. I reached out, only for him to grab my wrist and pin it to the bed. Daniel, are you sick or something? He freed one hand to press it to my forehead. Did you have a fever yesterday? You're acting weird. Not like you're messing with me. More like your brain's fried. You used to hate even breathing the same air as me. Did we really hate each other that much? Feels like a lifetime ago. Actually, more like a previous lifetime. I couldn't even remember that version of us. All I could recall was how, once we fell in love, I could never get enough of him. Everything about him made my heart race. Okay, fine. I don't want to touch you anymore. Anthony blinked, visibly relieved. But then his gaze dimmed for some reason. I knew it. You were just trying to. I want to sleep with you. His eyes went wide. I went on, undeterred. I don't hate you, Anthony. You're the only man I can accept. Only you can unlock my body, Daniel. His voice cracked as he shouted. Anthony's face turned bright red. Veins bulged at his temple, his chest heaving up and down. You have no shame, do you? Don't you feel embarrassed? How the hell can you say something like that out loud? That's enough to embarrass him? I haven't even started yet. Unfortunately, Anthony didn't give me another chance. He fled. A total mess, like his soul was escaping along with his body. I sat there in a daze, regret washing over me. I was too used to being the bold one, the shameless, experienced one. I forgot this version of Anthony was still a pure, innocent college boy. What I said must have been way too much for him to handle. But he was right in front of me. I didn't want to wait until we were 36. The ointment from the campus doctor worked surprisingly well. After a full night's rest, I could walk normally again. So I got up early, bought breakfast, and brought it straight to Anthony's dorm. His roommates saw me and immediately became defensive. If you're gonna fight, take it outside. Don't drag me into it. We're not fighting. Want fried dough sticks or scallion rolls? He didn't dare eat anything, afraid I'd poisoned it. Claimed he had morning exercise and bolted. Anthony tried to escape too, but I caught him half-dressed, pants still halfway up. What the hell are you doing? Bringing you breakfast. That hard to understand. He had that dazed look of someone forcibly awakened from a dream. So cute. I wanted to kiss him. I held back. Didn't want to scare him off. Had to take it slow. I started dropping by his dorm at random times, begged for his class schedule. Shamelessly sat next to him in every lecture. Everyone was stunned. I gave the most official explanation. After last time, I've reflected deeply. We, as classmates, should be united and friendly. No more rivalry, no more petty fights. We follow the 5 virtues, the 4 beauties, and the 3 loves. I believe Anthony agrees. We're working on becoming good friends, striving together toward a brighter future. Our professors were pleased. Our classmates were touched, which made Anthony look like the petty one for giving me the cold shoulder. Come on, Anthony. Daniel still came to class even after you beat him up. Don't be so stingy. Yeah, seriously. He's a grown man, setting aside his pride to chase after you every day. What more do you want? Honestly, you're the reason he lost the scholarship, right? Daniel's GPA is higher than yours. Anthony said nothing, but later, he cornered me against a wall. You say all that noble crap, but do they know how filthy your thoughts are? I didn't hear a single word. I was too thrilled by our current posture. Oh, this was a kabedon, nostalgic. He paused. What's a kabedon? It's this exact pose. And if we follow the usual progression, next, you're supposed to kiss me. His scowl collapsed in an instant. Like he'd been struck by lightning, he leapt away from me. Kiss you. He was stuttering, panicking. Absolutely adorable. We don't have to kiss. I reached out, hooked my finger into his belt, and slowly sank to my knees. I tilted my face up to look at him, letting my chin brush deliberately against a certain area. Anthony, when's the last time you got off? That line stunned him into utter stillness. He didn't react at all. Oops. I overdid it again. But since the words were already out, I might as well commit. If he couldn't bring himself to please me, surely he wouldn't stop me from pleasing him. I took the zipper in my teeth, starting to pull it down, but he moved like a robot that had just been poorly assembled, stiff in panic. He pushed my head away, arms trembling. Daniel, please, just act normal for once. I am acting normal. You're the one who's— I dragged the word out, a little too sensitive, don't you think? His Adam's apple bobbed twice, clearly catching the meaning. He didn't know whether to block my head or shield himself. Flailing around, he finally blurted, I have to go to class. Then he turned and fled, legs moving in the same rhythm as his arms, and the tips of his ears flushed so red they were practically glowing. On the day the scholarship results were officially announced, the guy who'd originally ranked third suddenly invited me to dinner. I was surprised, but I accepted. After all, if Anthony and I hadn't been disqualified, that scholarship would have never gone to him. Not that I cared about the meal. I was just grateful for an excuse. Anthony had been avoiding me for days, and I'd been running out of ways to lure him out. We entered a small diner. Anthony wasn't there. He refused to come. The guy smiled awkwardly as he set out bowls and chopsticks. I only invited you. My hand froze over the serving plate. What do you mean it didn't take long to figure it out? His awkwardness, the way he couldn't meet my eyes. He was the one who'd caught us in the bathhouse that day. I'd been too dazed from the pain to notice who it was. And even if I had, we didn't know each other. I heard everything from outside. I knew you two weren't fighting. He hesitated. I didn't say anything, but I really needed that money. His family was poor. His younger sister was sick. He'd been on the verge of dropping out to work, until this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity practically fell into his lap. I'm so sorry. If I ever earn enough, I promise I'll pay you back. I waved it off. You don't owe me anything. Not everyone could have pulled off what you did and actually won. You've got talent, but it should have been yours. Maybe, but you could have kept quiet about it. You chose to be honest. I smiled and cracked open a bottle of cheap liquor. The tiny diner was loud, filled with voices, steam, and the haze of grease and heat. He apologized again, then started rambling about his home life. Suddenly, I asked him, don't you find me disgusting? He blinked, shook his head. There have always been people like you. It's normal. The word hit me harder than expected. Normal. I was suddenly overwhelmed. Anthony and I had helped a lot of people in our lives. Some insisted on meeting us to thank us in person, only to turn cold the moment they realized we were a gay couple. Like the money we gave them was filthy. Others, once they found out we had no kids, tried every trick in the book to shove their own children into our household, just for a shot at our inheritance. It had all been behind me for years. I thought I'd made peace with it. But now, just one word normal and my eyes burned hot. I drank too much. After the meal, he helped support me as we walked back to campus. While leaning on him, I discreetly slipped some money into his coat pocket. Looks like it's going to snow soon. I looked up. The dark blue sky was divided into little squares by a web of power lines. Each section looked heavy, ready to burst with snow. Yeah, it probably would. My breath fogged into white frost as I exhaled. As the mist cleared, I saw Anthony. He stood at the mouth of the alley, hands in his pockets. Behind him, strings of colorful neon lights flickered. His expression was unreadable. He stared at me for 2 seconds, then glanced coldly at the guy beside me, and turned to leave without a word. It took me a few seconds to react. My steps were unsteady as I stumbled after him. Behind me, the classmate called out, "Daniel, be careful." But I couldn't look back. Anthony was walking faster. "Anthony," I tried to call out. My voice echoed from one end of the alley to the other. Anthony paused just for a moment, but didn't stop. His figure grew smaller and smaller. Eventually, I stopped walking. Leaning against the wall, I struggled to breathe. The entire meal, I'd been lost in memories, eating way too much without realizing it. Now, my stomach churned violently. The cold wind slammed straight into my skull, making it pound and swell. It felt awful, but not as awful as the ache in my chest. My heart felt like it had been soaked in acid, wrinkled, shriveled, unable to stretch out. I thought again about that banquet. Business dinners were nothing new to us. But no matter the occasion, Anthony always stayed sober. He knew I couldn't hold my liquor, and that the slightest breeze after drinking would mess me up. So he stayed clear-headed to take me home, to make hangover soup, change my clothes, hold me in his arms, rub my temples, pat my back, help me to the bathroom. Back then, I always had a broad, steady, warm back to lean on. Not this kind of freezing wind that cut straight through me. "Hey, can you still walk?" The howling wind suddenly fell silent, like someone had hit pause. A body stepped between me and the cold. Bit by bit, warmth returned to my limbs. I turned my head in a daze. My vision was blurred, but I recognized him immediately. Anthony. His face was stern as he warned me, "If I find out you're still messing with me, I will beat you up." I stared at him, frozen. And then, out of nowhere, a flood of grief hit me hard. "Anthony, you don't want me anymore. How could you just leave me like that? We promised we'd grow old together. You liar. You left without a word. Not even a goodbye. Do you know how hard the last few years were for me?" I choked, grabbing his collar. "I wanted to join you every single day, but I was scared I'd be too early. You'd scold me. So, when the doctor said there was no point fighting anymore, I was relieved. I could finally come find you." Anthony furrowed his brows, reaching for my wrist. "Daniel, what are you talking about, Anthony?" Scalding tears rolled down my cheeks as I sobbed against his chest. "I love you so much." His body visibly stiffened. The lazy indifference on his face vanished, replaced by a heavy, unreadable seriousness. After a moment, a bitter smile tugged at the corners of his mouth. "Heh, you say you love me, say I'm the only one you can accept, and yet I saw you hugging some other guy. You talk like your words mean something, but you're full of shit." "No, that's not it." I opened my mouth to explain, but suddenly a wave of nausea surged through me. Too late to turn away. Ugh, everything I'd eaten and drunk that night came right back up, all over Anthony. His expression turned thunderous. Clenching his jaw, he spat out each word. "Daniel, this is what you meant by only my body opens for you." I don't know how Anthony got me back to the dorm. When I woke up, my head was still foggy from the hangover. My roommate handed me a glass of water and wiggled his eyebrows. "You made up, huh?" It took me a few seconds to register. He was talking about Anthony. "He carried you all the way back, man. Wearing nothing but a sweater, freezing his ass off. Told me to give you warm water when you woke up. By the way, where'd you get that liquor? Take me next time." The warm water soothed my throat and eased the nausea. I brushed off his teasing and got out of bed to look for Anthony. He was gone. Was he still avoiding me? Damn it. Did I say something awful again last night? I couldn't remember. I clutched my head, trying to recall, when suddenly someone patted my shoulder. "Daniel, there's a call for you at the mailroom." It was from my family. They wanted me to go home for a visit. Halfway through the bus ride, snow started falling outside the window. Someone on the bus sighed, "First snows early this year. Must be a good harvest next year." First snow. My brain froze. The flurries blurred everything beyond the window. Anthony passed away 5 years before I did. That, too, was a snowy day. We were on the balcony, brewing tea over a charcoal stove, roasting peanuts and rice cakes. Anthony had looked out the window and said, "Other people put sugar tongs in theirs. Our stove looks kinda empty." A completely meaningless sentence, but it became the last thing he ever said to me. He slipped on the icy road outside and never woke up. The doctor said it was likely an old injury flaring up. Elderly bones break easily, and sometimes there's just no saving them. It was unfortunate, but that's how it is. Anthony had an old leg injury, one he got when he was young. Day-to-day walking wasn't a problem, but in cold, windy, rainy weather, it flared up badly. I knew exactly how he got that injury. My house had once been broken into. Anthony was still awake and saw it happen. When he chased the thief down, the guy panicked and smashed his shin with an iron rod. That night had also been the first snowfall. Just like today. Anthony and I became neighbors when we were 6. Our fathers had once fought over a company housing allocation, and the families had been on bad terms ever since. We barely interacted. As kids, we didn't really know what grudges were, but we absorbed everything our family said. If our parents called them the bad guys, then they were the bad guys. Layer after layer, those impressions hardened, until Anthony and I became sworn enemies. Now, I knocked on his door. His mother opened it, surprised to see me. "Good afternoon, Annie. I'm here to see Anthony." I'd run straight over after getting off the bus. I tried to catch my breath, but I was still panting. She blinked, then looked back. Anthony was having dinner. "I got drunk last night and collapsed on the street. Anthony helped me back to the dorm. I just wanted to thank him in person." "He helped you? Weren't you two just fighting?" Inspiration struck. "Well, the scholarship didn't mean much to us, but the guy who came in third really needed the money. So Anthony and I staged a little scene to let him win." She clearly wasn't buying it. Her expression remained skeptical. I was racking my brain for more excuses when Anthony's voice came from inside the house. "Mom, it's true. It's just like he said. Back when we were together, this old house had already been demolished. This was my first time stepping into the place that held his childhood memories. Everything felt fresh and unfamiliar." I looked around, curious. "Wow. When was this photo taken? You look so cute. This chessboard, did you get it from the shop next to the elementary school?" "I had the exact same one. I've never seen you wear this shirt before." "What? Afraid of matching with me?" Anthony leaned against the cabinet beside me and cut in. "What's going on? You came all the way to my house." I grinned. "To thank you, of course." "Cut the crap. To check on you. I heard you nearly froze to death last night." He scoffed softly and sat on the bed. "Didn't die? Fine. I'm here to apologize." Anthony glanced up at me, but didn't say anything. "I drank too much last night," I said. "I was thinking about something sad. I couldn't control myself. I didn't throw up on you on purpose." "Oh," he replied coldly. A pause. Then he asked, "Because you lost the scholarship?" "No." "Because of something sad?" Why was that the part he focused on? Of course not. "Actually, the thing I told your mom about the scholarship, half of it was true. That guy who took me out to eat really needed the money. So let's just pretend we did a good deed." As I spoke, my heartbeat grew faster. I leaned closer, testing the waters. "Do you care about me? Don't flatter yourself. Then do you hate me?" Anthony looked away. "You done?" "I want to sleep. My upper bunk leaked all night." "Didn't sleep a wink." I stared straight at him, reached out and gently cupped his face. "You'll fall for me, just like I fell for you." Before he could blow up, I darted in and kissed the corner of his lips. "Sleep early tonight." I told my family I wasn't feeling well and skipped the out-of-town wedding banquet. I wasn't planning on sleeping tonight anyway. They say old people are forgetful, but how could I not have regrets? I had too many. Now that I had another chance, I wanted to prevent that needless leg injury. I vaguely remember the thief broke in around midnight. Factoring in police response time, I used our home phone to report it 10 minutes early. But just as I hung up, I heard rustling at the door. My heart sank. So early? Luckily, I had already locked the door and bolted it. He shouldn't be able to get in. The sound went on for over a minute, then stopped. I crouched and tiptoed to the door, held my breath and listened for a long time. It sounded like no one was outside anymore. Did he give up? As I slowly straightened up, I heard it click. If I were 80 years old, I might have told myself my bones were creaking from crouching too long. But I wasn't 80. I was in my 20s. I knew someone was inside the house. Upstairs. Damn it. This thief had done his homework. He must have been watching our house for a while. He knew the security window on the second floor was broken. I hesitated between hiding and rushing to unlock the door and run. But the creaking above me grew louder. He was coming down the stairs. My heart was about to leap out of my chest. Panicking, I crawled under the tablecloth. As I scooted backward, I bumped into a chair. A sharp little thud. I clamped my hand over my mouth, and then it hit me. I hadn't unbolted the door. That kind of lock could only be undone from the inside. Wasn't that practically a neon sign saying, "Someone's home"? I silently prayed he'd be the cowardly type, realize that, and just leave. Snow had started to pile up. The glow outside made the room not quite dark. I clearly saw the man's cloth shoes descending the last 2 steps. A worn satchel hung from his hip, and I could vaguely see the outlines of what was inside. My radio. Probably some metals, too. He started disassembling the landline phone downstairs. There wasn't much worth stealing in this era. Anything metal could be traded for cash. I grew anxious. Was the snow making the police take so long? When I saw him tucking our TV under his arm and heading for the door, I finally relaxed. Fine, let him take it. As long as no one gets hurt. My heart was just beginning to settle when, crunch, the sound of someone stepping on snow. Light, but steady. The thief heard it too and rushed toward the front door. He froze for a moment at the bolt, just for a second, then quickly unlatched it and turned the knob. A gust of cold wind blew in, snowflakes whipping through the air. The tablecloth lifted, revealing the very last person I wanted to see. Didn't I tell him to sleep early? Anthony stood in the doorway. His voice was as cold as the snowy night. Put that down. I scrambled out from under the table, yelling, "Get away from him, he's armed." What happened next was a blur. Snow stirred from the struggle, swirling in the air like the snowflakes falling from the sky. It felt like the world had switched to slow motion. Adrenaline took over. My brain had only one thought. Anthony must not get hurt. In the distance, I heard sirens. They sounded like a signal. And suddenly, all the strength drained from my body. My knees buckled. I collapsed. Anthony caught me right away. "What are you doing here?" No time to explain. I urgently scanned him from head to toe. Thank God. No injuries. "Stop touching me. I'm fine." He grabbed my wrist. "You're the one who's bleeding. We're going to the hospital." I dumbly looked down at my palm. Only now did the burning pain connect to my nerves. I inhaled sharply. "You idiot. Didn't think to let go." I couldn't let go. If I did, that iron rod would have hit the man I love. When we were together, this incident had already happened over a decade ago. The memory had grown faint. I knew he'd been injured, but it hadn't hit me that hard. But now, I wanted to ask, "Anthony, why'd you get involved? You hated me. You would have loved to see my things stolen, right?" He helped me into the car. What can I say? I couldn't sleep. Just happened to see it. "You couldn't sleep. Were you watching me?" Slam. He shut the car door in my face. By the time my hand was bandaged and the statement taken, it was already deep into the night. My family had been notified and were on their way. At the corner, Anthony and I said goodbye. I still felt shaken. I wanted him to stay. But his mom was waiting at the door. "Well, get some rest then." I turned to leave, slowly climbing the steps and pushing the door open. Just as it closed behind me, a hand shot out, grabbing the edge of the door. Anthony's voice came from outside. "You look so damn pitiful. Guess I'll keep you company. Just this once." There was only one pillow on my bed. Anthony lay fully clothed on the outer edge, not even under the blanket. I scooted over and lifted a corner. "Aren't you cold?" "No." But I was. My hand had bled so much, my whole body felt icy. One person alone couldn't warm up a blanket. I said it in the most pitiful tone I could manage. Anthony finally moved just a little. He slipped under the covers but stayed far away from me. "Anthony, I'm scared. Can you come closer?" "HMPH." He snorted. "Scared my ass. You were the wildest one back there." Even the thief looked scared shitless. "I was scared you'd get hurt," I mumbled under my breath. "So stingy." "I'm stingy." Anthony actually chuckled. "After the crap you pulled earlier? I should have punched you in the face." I played dumb. What did I do? The bed creaked as Anthony turned toward me. His dark eyes stared deep, trying to deny it. "I'm old. Memory's bad." Anthony took a deep breath, his voice stiff and unnatural. "You kiss me." "Oh." I answered casually, then fell silent. The room grew quiet. Only our breathing and the soft rustle of falling snow outside could be heard. After a long pause, he finally broke. "That's it. Just oh." "I'm thinking." "Thinking what?" "That you regret it now." "I'm thinking, if I kissed you again, would you punch me?" "Anthony, shut up." "Would you?" He still didn't answer. I slowly inched closer, so close our breaths tangled together. "I'm injured right now. You're not allowed to hit me." Still, he said nothing. I pressed a feather-like kiss to his lips. I felt his lashes tremble, heard the hitch in his breath. "Did you like that?" His voice came out hoarse. "You're disgusting. Then open your mouth." In the dim light, Anthony's eyes locked onto mine. "What for?" "To give you something even more disgusting." After all these years, a kiss led by me. 20-year-old Anthony and 20-year-old Daniel. Young bodies burned fast. Soon, it was unbearably hot under the covers. At my urging, Anthony silently took off his clothes. He'd clearly been passionate during the kiss, but suddenly sank into a strange silence. Probably shy, I figured. I didn't dwell on it. I was way too nervous myself. If it was the night we slept together that woke him up last time, then tonight had to be the perfect first experience. In my last life and this one, I had never tried this hard before, but the more I got into it, the calmer he became. It felt like I was performing a solo act, and just as things were reaching their peak, he abruptly pushed me off and sat up. Looks like you're not cold anymore. I'm going home. I was stunned. Just as I was about to stop him, I heard my parents' voices downstairs. So, I had to abandon the mission mid-act. The next morning, I carried the fruit gift box my parents had prepared, and went to Anthony's house to thank him, only to be told he had already gone back to school. Where did I go wrong? He couldn't possibly be that shy, could he? I rushed back to campus and went straight to his dorm. Anthony's eyes were ringed with dark circles. He clearly hadn't slept. What the hell? You sleep with someone and then disappear. He glanced at me, his eyes dodging. Didn't even finish. Wait, was I just returned mid-delivery? I got rejected. Utter humiliation. Grabbing his collar, I shoved him onto the bed. Anthony, maybe I just didn't perform well last night. Let's try again. He turned his head to avoid my kiss. Grinding my teeth, I grabbed his chin and forced him to face me. If you've got the guts, hit me. It took quite a bit of effort to pry his lips open. Not until I tasted blood did he finally loosen up and let me wreak havoc inside. We were so into it that we didn't hear the noise outside the dorm. Just as Anthony shoved me away, the door opened. His roommate stepped in, grumbling and rubbing his lower back, thankfully too distracted to notice what we were doing. I quickly backed away, keeping a calm face. What happened? He grimaced. The walkway by the water room iced over. Slipped like hell. I remember the ointment from the campus doctor. I still have half a bottle left. I'll go grab it for you. Back in my dorm, I splashed water on my face, grabbed the ointment, and returned. He was already lying on his bed, shirt lifted. Thanks, man. Guess I had the wrong idea about you before. You're actually a good guy. Just go easy, okay? He wanted me to apply it. Well, fine. Let's apply. I knelt down beside his bed and was just about to twist the cap when someone suddenly grabbed my elbow. The bottle was snatched away and thrown onto his roommate's bed. Anthony, face dark, dragged me out of the room. What the hell? Your roommate's still waiting. He didn't let go until we'd reached the stairwell landing. I rotated my sore arm, clearly annoyed. Young guys really had fiery tempers. Always stewing, always pissed. Mature men talked things through. They didn't play these weird little games. Who are you comparing me to? Anthony asked coldly. I froze for a second, then stiffly looked up. His eyes were like a deep sea, swirling with emotions I couldn't read. I didn't. Don't deny it. I can feel it. My heart gave a sharp jolt. Right. Last night, I really did say something like, "Why are you so stupid? Can't you move?" How many? Anthony stepped closer, his icy breath instantly enveloping me. How many people have you played with before me? You're so experienced. Did you practice on someone else first? My mind went blank. I'd been so focused on getting Anthony to accept me that I hadn't even noticed. His desire had long faded, replaced by unease and hesitation. Was the Daniel in front of him still the Daniel he knew? The way I acted, it was flippant, like someone else entirely. Someone who'd been around the block more times than he could count. The love I spoke of, was it real? Or just a ticket to physical intimacy? And if he accepted it, then what? Would he end up like the others? Used, then discarded. I didn't know how to explain. All I could do was shake my head and mumble, "No, I didn't play with anyone. There's no one else." Anthony stared at me in silence. A few guys came clattering up the stairs, kettles in hand, talking loudly. He gently pulled me aside to let them pass. I stood there dumbly, staring at his jawline. And then I heard myself ask, "Anthony, you do like me, right?" He turned his head slightly. "Does it matter?" "It matters. It matters so much, Anthony." That night, I had a dream. I dreamed I was lying in the snow. Flakes drifted down from the gray sky. All around me were scattered sugar tongs. I jolted upright. He wasn't there. Just a snowy white world. Only me. In the first few years after Anthony passed, I couldn't stop obsessing, replaying over and over what he must have seen at the end, what he must have been thinking. Later, I gave up thinking. I just waited for the doctor to tell me my time was up, so I could go ask him myself. In the dream, I lay back down in the snow, gazing blankly at the sky. Then, in one sudden moment, I heard his voice. "I didn't get enough, Daniel. We loved too late and missed too much. I want to start over with you." I brought breakfast and knocked on Anthony's door. His roommate opened it and lit up. "Thanks. I'll take the scallion roll." Sorry, this one's for Anthony." Anthony was sitting on the bed. He lifted his eyes, glanced at me, then kept getting dressed. His roommate let out a dramatic groan and threw on his coat. You two are heartless, making the injured apply his own meds, and even sending him out to buy his own breakfast. I nudged him. If you don't hurry, the scallion rolls will be sold out. He grumbled and ran off. I dragged a table over to his bed and sat down across from him. Anthony, let's start over. My name is Daniel. I'm your neighbor, childhood friend, classmate, rival, and now, your pursuer. This is my first time doing a campus romance. Please forgive my clumsy tactics. I'll do better. He stared at me. Your first time. I nodded. You're the first, and the last. Anthony looked down and reached for the breakfast. I pretended not to notice the corners of his lips twitching upward. So, I continued. I saw that chessboard in your room last time. Do you like playing chess? Want to go to the chess club together this weekend? He took a slow sip of soy milk. I don't like chess anymore. Then what do you like? He thought for a moment. Movies. Perfect. I pulled the flyers out of my pocket. How about this one? Martial arts. The steam from the soy milk drifted between us. Anthony stared at me, unblinking. You're serious, of course. Why? Because I like you. And before we hit 36, I want to start over. Anthony raised an eyebrow. Why 36? I winked at him mysteriously. Because after 36, I'll tell you a story. 3 years later, Anthony held my hand as we walked out of the civil affairs office. The red marriage certificate warm in my palm. Outside, snow had just begun to fall, just like that night. He looked at me and smiled, eyes soft. 36 isn't so far, he said. But I don't want to wait anymore. I smiled back, pulling him into a kiss. Then let's start our forever now.